Hi, you guys. Welcome. Happy Tuesday. I'm happy to be here with you. I know it's been a while since I've posted anything, gone live, and been over here. I've been on vacation, as you may know or not know, and I'm happy to see that quite a few of you have started to jump in. So tonight is going to be about giving you tips on how to feel calmer, yell less, have more patience, and connect more with your kids and with your partners as well, okay? And as you join me, let me know where you're joining me from. By the way, if you hear a very loud noise, I'm here in Miami, and there is a big thunderstorm happening right outside my window. So that's what's happening and the noise that you may be hearing. Welcome Caitlin, Anisha, Vanessa, Belen, Gabby. So just as we're warming up, let me know where you're joining me from. And as always, this is going to stay recorded and in my profile. Mom, you're also in Miami? Okay. And feel free to ask any questions as I go. This is not going to be a very long live, okay? And I'm going to try to stay very much to the point and give you those tips and give you some short and long-term solutions. So first of all, I want to give you the disclaimer that if you have found yourself some weeks, some days yelling more than others, having less patience, that is okay. It's communication. It's like when your kids are having lots of tantrums, lots of meltdowns. Ooh, we have someone from Zurich. It's very late for you, right? But whenever kids are having a rough week, a rough day, that's also communication. So when you're feeling less patient, that's your cue to understand that your body or your mind is telling you something. There's something that potentially is missing. And the tips that I'm going to give you are hopefully going to fill that gap. Okay? You're not any less or weak for looking for support. You're not a bad mom for yelling, but you do owe it to yourself and to your children to look for solutions. Welcome, Belen from Ohio. I've never been. I've been to Switzerland, not to Zurich that I remember. But yeah, I feel like as a therapist and as a mom, it's very important to understand that when you come to these spaces and you look for these resources, and to any of the moms who have worked with me one-on-one who have told me that they have tried everything and this is kind of like their last resort, I always tell them, you're not any less for looking for support. You're not. If anything, you're doing your family and yourself a service, and you're gonna get out of that feeling sooner. Okay? Anisha has a newborn at home, so days and nights are all meshed together. Yep, I remember those days. Absolutely. So thank you for being here. Okay. So lastly, what are you ready to do? What are you ready to do in order to change things at home? How committed are you to yell less and connect more, to learn new habits, to learn new strategies? Just today that I was in my own therapy session, I was telling my therapist, because, you know, sometimes we talk about how we're both therapists and what it feels to have clients, that the client who resists the most, the client that already comes in with an agenda of what needs to be learned and how quick this needs to go and to have solutions in 2 or 3 sessions, is the client that is going to take the longest, because they are resisting. They have an agenda. And we have to trust this process. You have to be willing to learn new things and to hear new things. So with that in mind, I want to go to the first tip that I want to give you to start yelling less and connecting more and to be more patient. And that's to create clear agreements. I don't like calling it rules. Okay? Rules or boundaries, you can call them that. I prefer to call them agreements. Just yesterday, I was working with a family that I've been working with for a while. We started doing parenting sessions, and now we've done a couple actual full family sessions with their preteens. as well to give them a voice and make them part of this process in finding new agreements where the child who is now turning into this mini adult wants to have a voice and they're resisting. And mom and dad, especially mom, is having a really hard time, was having, because she's now changing that, a hard time in understanding that her kids are no longer babies. They have a voice and they want to be heard. So I'm teaching all of them to speak up and develop clear and consistent agreements. For example, as you may assume or may also have this battle with electronics, may it be cell phones or may it be iPads, okay? They were having trouble with one of their kids returning the phone at the limit that they had set, right? But without clear agreements and without asking the child who is now a teenager or involve them in the newer process and the newer rules, and without specifically clear consequences, it was really hard because we were saying one day was at 9, one day was at 10, one day was when I feel like it, and I'm gonna return it when I feel like it. So we needed to stop that. You first need to sit down to figure out what is no longer working, where you're having and finding the most trouble in your routine or finding resistance in the rules that I prefer to call agreements, as I just mentioned. Sit down and start changing those. And if your kids are old enough, and I want to say old enough would be, I have conversations with my kids that are 4 and 6 years old who are able to understand and be part of this conversation of the new agreements that we may have. For example, before they would be allowed or have permission to have snacks, certain types of snacks, in the TV room. And then I realized I was cleaning more often than not, leading to yelling, etc., losing my patience. So I said, no more. No more. We are no longer doing that. You want to eat something, you sit outside, or you come over, our balcony is very close by, or you sit in our lunch table, our dining table. That's where you're going to have your snack. And I told them the reasons why we were no longer having the previous agreement. It took a while for them, I want to say like a few days of them testing me to get used to this new agreement, but now they know perfectly. So the reason that you may be yelling more is because you have agreements, or you may not have agreements at all, or you may flip-flop in your agreements. And maybe if you have pre-teenagers and teenagers, you may have not involved them whatsoever in this conversation. We want them to feel part of the process, and we want them to even have a say in some of the agreements. That's something very important in conscious parenting. You're not, I know this is very difficult to hear for some people, you're not above your children. You are, yes, the leader, the guide, the mentor. But if you want them to be independent down the line and have a relationship that's both ways, we need to have dual conversations. So I'm gonna go to the second one. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, if this is resonating with you. Okay, so the second one is to have clear, and goes along with having clear agreements, to have clear and logical consequences. We don't call it punishment. We don't want to call it punishment. A consequence. So natural consequence. Our agreement was that you are going, I'm not going to take it from you. You are going to return your cell phone by 10 p.m. Okay, because now they have an agreement over the summer that it doesn't have to be 8 p.m. It can be 10 p.m. You are going to return it to me. If by, like at 10 p.m. the latest, if by 10:05 you haven't returned it to me, I'm gonna go to you. And the father said, I'm not going to ask more than 3 times. If by the 3rd time you still haven't given me the phone, and this is not like 3 times in 30 minutes, this is 3 times like, within a minute or 2. If I ask you, you don't return it, then the consequence, the mom agreed, and that was her own agreement. I don't get involved in what the consequence is going to be. The consequence is that you're going to lose your phone, access to your phone for 2 days. No questions asked. Okay, Maria is asking, what about if it's bedtime and he doesn't want to get ready? So here's the thing, and I'll say a little parentheses over here. You may, as a parent, and I'm a parent also, have all of these beautiful agreements, right? And they still may struggle. And I get it. I've used the timer as well, and now I have a clock that actually turns like light blue and pink when it's time to go to bed, okay? Or like 5 minutes before it's time to go to bed and lights out. And it is still hard. I'm not gonna say it's easy every day. And I use the timer sometimes when we're like when I want to give them a heads up between transitions. Okay. So back to bedtime or any agreement, right? That you still have a very clear expectation, but they still have a hard time following it. That's parenting. It's not going to be perfect every time. What I would do, depending on how old your child is, meaning, like I mentioned, if they're about 3.5, 4 years old, they're very verbal, and we can have a sort of mutual conversation, I would ask them what would make it better and more fun to be in bed. Is it that they're missing story time? Is it that they would like for you to stay for 5 minutes before you leave the room? What would make it so that it's easier for them during bedtime? Yeah, so if it's going to be 6 and 2 months, you can have this conversation. I would even bring up the conversation. I don't know if you have already I've noticed that it's really hard for you when it's bedtime. And I would like to know why and how can I make it better for you, more fun for you. And just leave it open-ended and just hear. After you hear his reasoning, then we can start finding potential solutions and come out. I can assure you that you will be more successful if he feels part of the solution. The thing with parenting is that we may have the agreements. We have to hold very strong with our agreements. And even then, it's not going to be perfect every day. If you're feeling constantly pushed to the limit or stressed out or disrespected, there's something there that I would recommend that you explore as to what's really going on in the full dynamics of the home, because maybe it's hard to him to fall asleep. But if I were to support you, for example, as a parent coach, I would want to know what's happening an hour before, 2 hours before. I would suggest that you look into what makes it, on the days that you do find that it is easier for him, what happened that day. On the day that is harder I would try to find the logic or the patterns in the part of the routine that's not working for you. But I would be lying. I don't think it's ethical or right for me to sit here and say, without knowing anything about your family, your son, your dynamics, to say and do this exactly. Yes, so that is another disclaimer. These tips do work, but you have to learn to apply them to your family and your routines and your logistics, your situations. Because let's say, in general, you have a child in your family that is neurodiverse, or you as a parent are neurodiverse. We have to understand how this is going to work for you. Timers don't work for every child, for example. Okay? So I hope that makes sense and it gave you some direction on where to go, but it is important to understand. I feel like we have come to this misunderstanding that what us professionals share here is like a blanket statement and it will work for every family. It will work, but we need to understand your family first. I'm just expressing generic tips that have helped. They have helped all the families, but we have to find the loopholes in your family. Okay, so welcome everyone who's joining right now. Okay, I just mentioned the example of clear and logical consequences, right? For me to say I'm gonna take your phone for a whole month for something minor, for a teenager, that's going to be huge, right? So make sure that the consequences are logical to what is going on. Okay, and a logical consequence would be, for example, let's say you have your routine and you can use your iPad for an hour, but you have to first be done with your homework by a certain time. If you take longer with your homework and you stepped into your time, okay, of your day to use your iPad, that doesn't mean that I'm going to then extend dinner and bath time and bedtime. No, now you have 45 minutes to use your iPad. Okay? And that's a logical consequences based on the agreements that we shared. Something super important if we want to connect more. Okay? Make it about fun. Make it about family connections. Make it about disrupting. If you have a lot of stress, and I told this to a mom who came to me who felt that she had no connection currently with her 6-year-old daughter. They were pretty much butting heads. There was a lot of resistance. She didn't know what else to do, and my biggest suggestion was to first focus on rebuilding the connection and the trust between them. Now, I am sorry to say that she was not ready to do that, okay? But for example, with another family, I mentioned, you know what, we're going to bring game night. You're gonna go to Target, you're gonna buy, each of you, they're a family of 4, is going to choose a board game of your liking, and you're gonna set a date. You're gonna agree together on a date where no matter what, you're always going to play. Guess what? They started doing it, they're connecting, they're having so much fun, and now the kids are saying, we don't wanna use the iPads, we wanna play. So sometimes you have to focus less on the day-to-day logistics and more on the fun part of connecting as a family. Okay, so that's a basic one, and having screen-free time together as a family. For example, dinner time together. If you can't do it weekly, every day, then maybe once a week, twice a week. Okay? Okay, the fourth one, I only have 5, so we're getting there. Okay, the fourth one is to listen more, and I feel like I've hinted at this throughout. Listen to your kids. Ask them. I even asked a mom one time, I gave her the homework of asking her child, she was really butting heads with one of her preteens, to ask him what he disliked currently about the agreements or the rules or the impositions that mom was giving him. And she laughed and she said, I love the homework, and at the same time, I don't want to hear what he wants to say. Okay? So we have to be willing to listen. If we believe that we are above our kids and we set the rules, guess what? Little by little, you're going to connect less. You're going to lose that connection when they become preteens and they realize that they have no say and that all they have to do is follow. Think back to when you were a child. Okay? And like I said, parenting is not easy. It really is not. And we have to be patient. We have to be willing to go back to the drawing board. Okay? And the last one, and this is my favorite one, is to be willing to get support. To have a community of like-minded moms. To ask for help when You don't know what else to do. I'm happy that this is super useful, Anisha. I know you have a newborn. Do you have any more kids, or do you have your newborn for now only? Because I know it may feel like this is still not related to you if you have kids like 2 and below who are still not testing you, but believe me, you want to have all of these skills as soon as possible. Even with your partner, you want to have clear agreements. You want to connect, you want to have fun. Even for yourself, you want to take care of yourself and have, if you're feeling more burnt out, overextended, less patient, screaming more anxious, you want to, oh, you have a 6-year-old, I'm happy. So I'm happy that you're here for him. You should definitely want to have a space, all of you, I'm not saying this only to one of you, all of you, to find a space that is for you. The more burned out that you feel, the more that you're yelling, the less patient that you are. Looking for that support is key. And looking for that support and community always. I want to say that, yes, the women that come to me to work privately, one-on-one, and do private coaching, usually, of course, in that first initial session, the first initial call, they do feel overwhelmed, but quickly enough they don't, and then they start coming to me just for touch-ups, for validation, for clarification, and to maintain all the work that we've done, and to just have a space, a safe space to vent, so they can continue to hold a calm space for their kids. And agreed, Anisha, we're not, and that's why I said the disclaimer in the beginning, we're not here only because we're yelling. We don't look for therapy, support, coaching. We don't go to the classes because we are sinking. Maybe we are, but we're also looking for solutions and to even strengthen that bond even more, to overreact less. Because yes, we're going to overreact, but we want to overreact less. And we want to know how to help our kids when they are acting out. We want to try and understand them and have all the best tools to understand. Okay? So, okay, I'm going to stop for a little bit before I continue. Just because I want to make sure if anyone has a comment, a question, so far, if this is making sense, if you need clarity on any of the 5 tips that I gave. If you do, feel free to drop them in. Okay, but if you have been here for a while or you're newer to me, I want you to know that Mindful Mom Method has opened its doors again, and that we are now doing enrollment, and I will only have this time 15 spots. We have increased it from 10 to 15 because I want to give more of you the opportunity to belong to this community and to have close proximity to me without having to do private sessions only. I wanted to create a space where you can still get and learn all of the tips, all of the strategies to implement everything that we've talked about here today, to go deeper, to really get to know you, okay, inside those group sessions. So Mindful Mom Method gives you all of the self-paced videos with all of the tools, all of the strategies that are evidence-based in therapy, in conscious parenting, in secure attachment theory, in everything that I have learned and done with all of my private clients for the last 10 years. I have put everything inside Mindful Mom Method, okay? It's 16 short videos of 10 to 20 minutes, the longest, where you will hear me explain to you the theory, the tools, the strategies to be a calmer mom, to have better agreements, to have more communication, to explore your triggers while you're overreacting. Okay? And while you're exploring that, after watching every video, to have that close proximity to me, then I've created this workbook that has journaling questions after every lesson. And this is the part that the moms who have been part of Mindful Mom, who are currently inside the latest group, love about it. Every mom that has been in it and made the best of it has had amazing short and long-term results. Even the moms who have already done it still have the results. Thank you, Rosalia, for saying that you totally recommend Mindful Mom method. And I love that you're saying it was the best gift you have given yourself and of course your children, because it is a gift for you and in return to your children. It is an absolute gift. And we have a community, like for example, Rosalia, she is about to finish her 6 meetings, but after that, she's still part of our Telegram private community, and she's always there, and she can always ask questions, and she can always have my support and still hear my voice notes when I send them, for example, okay? So there's only 15 spots. A few of them have been taken. I'm looking at my notes so I don't forget anything. We start July 13th. So starting July 13th, we start our 6 group meetings, no more than 15 of you. They happen at 11 a.m. Miami time. So even if, for example, you're in Europe or in other parts of the US where you are 2 hours behind, I've set it at that time so that people from all over the world can attend. They are recorded, so even if you come late, you will get the recording and access to it for 2 weeks. But, and Rosa can say this, the juice and the beauty of it is when you come. Sometimes you can only be there and listen because you are with your kids, and that is absolutely fine. Come as you are. We don't care if you're with your kids, if you're at work, if you're in the park walking. I just want you to get that close proximity, the answers. You have access to the modules for 3 months, so you can still absolutely go at your own pace. And you can absolutely download this and have it with you forever, okay? What else? You get a certificate at the end of it. This is the first cohort that will get a certificate at the end of it that you can print and always have with you, so you know that you've completed and that you have been committed to this process of being a calmer, more present mom, okay? And you get 3 bonuses. I don't know why I said like this. 3 bonuses of all of my signature master classes: More Peace at Home, Same Page Parenting, and Raising Secure and Resilient Kiddos. You get all of that. And I want to go over here and answer the questions. I do want to say that this class is worth over $3,000 for sure, with everything that is there and everything that I've created, and considering that you get 6 hours with me of close proximity, and the Telegram is absolutely lifetime. If you don't know what Telegram is, it's pretty much like a WhatsApp. It's real life messaging where we can send voice notes and do polls, and you can send messages. Consider it like a Facebook group, but on your phone at all times. Okay? This is worth for sure over $3,000, and it's yours if you pay in full for $497 or as low as $179 if you choose to pay in 3 payments, 3 monthly payments, 1 to get in and then 1 every month for 3 months. This is absolutely affordable and accessible because I want everyone to have close proximity to a coach that will give you results. Okay, I want to read over here. I have an 8-year-old son and a 3-year-old daughter. You're the primary caregiver, and sometimes you're touched out. Agreed. I get easily touched out because your 3-year-old is quite clingy. Sometimes I just lose it when my son wants to hold my hand. Absolutely. So understanding how you can create, this is something that we talk about in the class, okay, which is how to be aware and be careful with your sensory overload cup, and how to find spaces. For example, if this were a styrofoam cup, I help you find how to poke holes, okay? And how to create new habits, new routines, new support system so that your sensory overload does not get completely overloaded every day, all the time. Is it normal for this to happen every so often? Yes. If it's happening most days than not, then it is something that I would highly suggest that we look for solutions. Because I get it. I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. I want to say that my 4-year-old is definitely, he needs more of that touch, and I get touched out. I more than touched out, I get like sound out, like a lot of noise and a lot of requests at the same time. I really struggle with that, and I had to dig a little bit deeper to understand what would help me and why that was happening in the first place. So if I answered your question, in order to control that, it's about understanding why it's happening, and we would have to look at how else and where else we could, first of all, increase your patience, decrease your sensory overload, and find a support system if possible. In module 2, and that's why you saw, let me show you over here. Where is it? Okay, so in this one, for example, all of module 2, if you see this body, is because I teach you, okay, scientifically, I teach you to be aware of your emotions, your sensations, your thoughts that lead to a reaction. The reaction being the yelling and losing your patience. So we first need to look at what's happening inside of you to learn to decrease it. And it doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen quickly. Can I say in a week, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks? That will depend on you. But if you do the work and you do it consistently, all of my, if not 100%, 99% have found results in feeling less triggered, in having the same situation happen exactly in the same situation and not yelling in that same situation. And Rosa over here is saying, yes, the group meetings are amazing, very insightful, and a great opportunity to connect with other moms in the program. Yes, and a few of them have made friendships outside of the group because it's so amazing to be with other moms in a space where you can actually vent and know that you're not going to be judged. Someone here is saying, why was it happening? Why was what happening? Just wanted to understand. What did you mean by that? Why was it happening? Okay. You're welcome, Serenity. I hope that, oh, how can you join? Okay, Mindful Mom Method. Okay, absolutely. You like right after we log off over here, there's 2 ways for you to join. You can go immediately right now. That's a very good point. To my link in my bio. Okay, click the link, and the first spot that you're gonna see over there is Mindful Mom Method. So that's one way to join. The second and quickest way to join is also to send me a DM, and I'll send you the checkout. Just let me know if you wanna join with 1 payment in full, 2 payments, or 3 payments. We have 3 different options for the mom who needs it. That's not, I do not ever want the financial part to be a reason why you're not joining. I want you to focus on the results that you do want to get, and only that, and trust the process. That is the absolute only way that this will work. That is how I can guarantee you results. If you follow the process and focus on how you want to feel and the results, it will work. What triggers the reactions? Absolutely. We have to look at the thoughts. We have to look at the thoughts, the sensations, and looking a little bit deeper. For some people, it was something from their childhood. From others, it's something that happens currently in their life. For example, if I'm a full-time working mom who is always looking at emails, working with clients, by 5 p.m., I don't want to hear anything else. So that's my reality. So what can I do in my day-to-day if I know I get sound out? I don't listen to music anymore in the car. I go in silence. I listen to relaxation music. I listen to high frequency music. I meditate in the morning. I give myself, a 45-minute lunch break on the days that I'm feeling touched out, burned out, for example. So there are practical solutions and there are deeper solutions. We have to look at the two. Okay, I get it if you've been working on the triggers but you fail at times and then feel terrible, meaning mom guilt. I will be more than honored to have you be one of the 15 moms. And doing yoga, I do. I don't know, Rivka here is asking, I do. Actually, I've done yoga and I even have done cuencos and frequency and all of that good stuff to move my energy around my body. For me, it works for sure. And then Serenity over here is saying that silencing everything helps. The car is your favorite time and workout helps. Absolutely. So like I'm saying, there is no blanket tips that will help everybody. We have to look at you as an individual. Okay? Let me know if you have any more questions about how to join Mindful Mom Method. So you join today, you get immediate access to the portal, to watch the introduction videos, to get familiarized with the whole process, to download your beautiful 70-page journaling. Don't get overwhelmed that I just said 70 pages. It's just for you to take notes, do the journaling that happens after every lesson that you watch. It's 16-minute lessons. The 6 meetings start July 13th. So July 13th is a Thursday. And then for 6 Thursdays, we will meet for an hour over Zoom. You get immediate access to the Telegram chat where you can already start creating a community with the moms that are there, including myself. And you're welcome. I know I said this would be quick, but I get so into it that it's never that quick. So I'll be so happy to see you there and to get to put a face to all of these beautiful women, all these beautiful moms that have joined me today from all over the world. And I'll see you July 13th. Feel free to send me a DM if you are 100% sure that you want to join. And if you're still on the fence, feel free to also DM me and I'll be happy to answer any of the questions. But don't take too long, okay? Because we're less than 3 weeks away. And the spots will be filled first come, first served. 3 of them have already been claimed, okay? So I'll see you very, very soon and have an amazing and restful sleep, okay? Bye. You're welcome.